Tonight's special pre-taped presentation is from Retro Sports Network and presented by DigitalToDice.com, the best darn podcast anywhere for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. Yes, I'm stalling. Hi there, I'm Ron Chuckett. Welcome to the program for this Saturday, the 28th day of January, 2023s. And so I did a pre-play of the AFC and NFC Championship games to be played Sunday, in the wrong order, of course, using Fast Drive Football version 2 by Al Wilson and with cards that were helpfully created by Mark Miller and Al Wilson. So I'm going to go through the games and then show you the Excel spreadsheet where I wrote them down. But I figured I'll just tell you a story first. Okay? All right. In the AFC Championship game for the 2022 season, back at Arrowhead Stadium, Patrick Mahomes trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Could Joe Burrow go back-to-back? Already the winningest quarterback in Cincinnati Bengals playoff history. And my inner 9-year-old is thrilled beyond belief that the Bengals are relevant again. The Giant fan in me is also happy for that too. So, first quarter, Kansas City wins the toss. Mahomes bringing his charges down the field. What's he do? Great field possession to start the ball game, but he gets picked. That's not good. Cincinnati has it 1st and 10. Joe Burrow looking around in the end zone in the corner for Hurst. Touchdown, Cincinnati. It's 7-0 right from the get-go. Kansas City gets it about their own 30-yard line, runs it down for a field goal. Whoop! It's wide left. It's still 7-0 Cincinnati. Cincinnati finally is forced to punt. Kansas City's defense finally shows up. And then at the end of the first quarter, starting from about their own 10-yard line, Mahomes, the general, drives them down the field, looks for McKinnon in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown. Extra point good. 15 minutes in the book. 7-7 the score. The Bengals take the opening kickoff, get average field position, and somehow got our Red Sox fan to kick for them because they missed the field goal. It's still 7-7. Kansas City goes down in average field position. They trot the ball down the field. There it is. The Chiefs lead the ball game 10-7 on the field goal. Everyone in Arrowhead is happy except for those on the Cincinnati sidelines. But they should not wait very long as Joe Burrow finds T. Higgins for Burrow's second touchdown pass of the day. Oh my goodness, all of a sudden it's 14-3 with 1 tick on the clock. Kansas City does get the kickoff return, but they can't do anything with it in the short amount of time they had. They go to the locker rooms. The Bengals 14, Kansas City 10. And Tracy Wolfson asks Andy Reid a whole bunch of questions, and Andy talks about hot dogs. I guess he's fine. It's only a 4-point game. The Bengals feeling pretty confident, and you still have Patrick Mahomes on your side. However, the Bengals get the kick to start the second half. They get a great return and finally convert the field goal. It is now, I got to do some math here, 17-10 Cincinnati. And Kansas City, again, pinned deep in their territory, but Jones II eventually punches one in, and Arrowhead goes wild again. It is now 20-17 at this point, or 17-17 at this point, because Ron can add things in his head. Maybe next time he'll actually put the score on the sheet as he's playing the game. So Cincinnati goes ahead. Average field position. They convert the field goal. 2 field goals in the third quarter. Could that be the difference? Is Ron going to foreshadow the result of the end of this game? We'll find out in a moment. Kansas City, with time running out in the third quarter, can't get anything going. They punt the ball. And so after 3 quarters, it's 20-17 Cincinnati. And first possession of the fourth quarter, Joe Burrow, channeling his inner Tom Brady, Joe Montana, John Facenda. How deep can this voice go? finds Jamar Chase to put the Bengals back up by another score. So it's 24-17 Cincinnati. Then Kansas City responds with a field goal, then forces a 3-and-out from the Bengals. Then get a great kickoff return. It's 27-20, and Mahomes just drives him right down the field, hands off to McKinnon, who tucks tail and scores with 3 ticks left. That is 4.5 minutes off the clock in a 27-27 game. Tony Romo needs smelling salts at this point. Jim Nantz, who's probably still excited from whatever the end of the golf tournament he's calling right now as I record this. They're all excited. The folks at CBS are thrilled. They got themselves a barn burner, all right. 3 ticks left. 4.5 minutes. The Bengals take the kick. They get average field possession. And Joe Burrow, again, channeling his inner Boomer Esiason, Kenny Anderson, Turk Schonert, Bart Starr, whatever it is, drives them 70 yards down the field. And as time is running out at the end of regulation, Burrow calls his own number, reaches over, does his best Marshawn Lynch impression, and scores the go-ahead touchdown with 15 seconds to go. Extra point up, extra point good. Cincinnati 34, Kansas City 27. A kick deep could barely be returned, and time ran out. And for the second year in a row, the Cincinnati Bengals go to Arrowhead and stun the Kansas City Chiefs by the score of 34-27. So here's how I wrote it down. I'll talk about what I thought about the game engine and all that after the end of the review of the Philly-San Francisco game. So I just wrote things down and kept score and kept the ticks there. And in the next game, you'll see where I actually wrote down how many ticks were on a drive, so I would have some sort of idea. So you can see I rolled for there, and I don't defer. So Kansas City won the toss, and they took the field goal. Just easy to record, great, average, and poor. And so I'll tell you a couple things that I wasn't quite sure on. Cincinnati at the end of the second quarter, and I'll just put the mouse right there, the Burrow to Higgins, but there was 1 tick left, so I did the kickoff, and then I ran the play for Kansas City, but the timing die was over, and so I just didn't even look. It was null and void, so that's how I ended the first half. Nothing really confused me in the first game. Now, going down through, knowing we have a good game, I liked how the punts worked, by the way. I'm not quite sure what they all meant, but I liked how the punts worked. So Kansas City gets the tying score, and there were 4 ticks left, and Cincinnati has an efficient offense. So this is how I read it. They rolled to take 2 ticks off because they're efficient. I gave them the third. Burrow with the touchdown, quarterback sneaker, whatever, to give Cincinnati the lead. They converted the extra point. Now, here's how I played it. If I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will tell me. I did the kickoff, and figuring that if they had at least, there is a chance on a kickoff if you get the right number to be returned for a touchdown. Because it was efficient, and because we deal with 75-second chunks, I just figured that Kansas City maybe had 10 seconds to do something. If they got sprung for something or maybe had great field position, I know there's a desperation play. I would have run it. Kansas City had poor field position after the kick. So in my head, it's just Chinese fire drill for a couple seconds. They couldn't do anything, and the game ends there. Very, very plausible result. Remember, Cincinnati, I don't know why I'm looking at the camera. Cincinnati won that last year. So that is how the first game went, which would be the late game tomorrow. So Cincinnati 34, Kansas City 27. And now to Lincoln Financial Field. as Brock Purdy tries not to be Mr. Irrelevant anymore. Can he be Tom Brady? Can Jalen Hurts take the Philadelphia Eagles to the promised land? Will Santa Claus finally get cheered? These answers and more right now. Philadelphia won the toss, got a decent field position, and converted the field goal. 3-0 Philadelphia. And then San Francisco, they started with average field position. They got a break. They're in great position. Brock Purdy goes back to pass, looks around, and finds Nolan Cromwell wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey and is picked. Drive over. 3 ticks in. It's okay. It's only 3-0. They're talking to him on the sideline as Jalen Hurts has great field position, a short field, 2 plays. Hurts to go dirt. Touchdown, Philadelphia. Extra point is good. It's 10-0 in the first half of the first quarter. It's all uphill for San Francisco. But Purdy still has all of his teeth. Looks around, a long drive down, the maximum amount of time you can take off the clock. About 6 minutes. Purdy finds Kittle for the score. It's 10-7. The extra point is good. It's a 1-score game. Then the defenses kind of set in. Both teams exchange punts to end the first quarter. Philadelphia punts in the first possession of the second quarter. Purdy with 68,000 screaming Eagle fans arguing about whether they should go to Pat's or Geno's, pick off Purdy after a long drive. So the Eagles start in great field position just outside the San Francisco 20, and Jalen Hurts does exactly what he's supposed to do. Hurts him with his legs, stumbles, rumbles, bumbles, touchdown. The Eagles go up 17-7. But Purdy, again, kind of like a weeble wobble. You can knock him around, but you can never punch him down. Finds McLeod for the touchdown with 1 tick left to go in the first half. But Dallas's kicker was a free agent, and San Francisco signed him and missed the extra point. At the half, 17-13 because Philadelphia didn't have great field position. So despite the fact that San Francisco, that Purdy threw 2 interceptions, and Hurts has 1 on the ground and 1 in the air, they're still in this game. It is not over yet. And in fact, San Francisco gets the ball to start the second half and converts the field goal. It is now 17-16. It's a 1-point game. Joe Buck, who's not calling the game, is hyperventilating in a bag, and so is Troy Aikman. Then the defense kind of took over. Philadelphia was forced to punt. And then came the bad play. A catch over the middle, knocked out of the air, scooped up by a Philadelphia defender, and that was murder, she wrote. Philadelphia has up now 24-16. And then a long drive for San Francisco is stalled with the punt. They can't get it into field goal range, forced to punt. Purdy sacked on a long third down, taken out of field goal range. And after another Philadelphia punt, we start the fourth quarter. It's not over, but San Francisco is like a fighter on the ropes, just needs one more punch. And that punch came on Philadelphia's first possession of the fourth quarter. A poor field position, but you could hear Merrill Reese, his voice rising in anticipation as Jalen Hurts went for it all to Brown and connected, and Brown spiked it on the E in the Eagles' end zone. And there's almost happiness in the city of brotherly love. Following a punt by San Francisco, they almost caught a break. The Philadelphia Eagles fumbled the punt return, but covered it, and then missed a field goal. That's not good. So Purdy trying to keep it in there. It's still a one-score game at this point. Actually, it is not a one-score game at this point. It's 31-16. So Purdy needs to make something happen. Average field position, and just trying to force one pass too many. It was picked off. Philadelphia brings it in the red zone, converts the field goal on a 3-minute drive. It's 34-16. And then San Francisco, with 4 ticks on the clock, tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. Poor field position. They couldn't do anything with it. Technically, they had a field goal, but they weren't going to go for a field goal. Final score, Philadelphia 34, San Francisco 16. They just clobbered them. So I added the number of ticks per drive on here. I don't think there's anything I had a question on. Again, San Francisco, you could have quibbled, had a field goal at the end of the game, but you knew they weren't just going to go for 3. They were down 18. So that I thought worked very, very well. And you could just kind of tell. The air just went out of San Francisco following the fumble return for Philadelphia. And then the Hurts to Brown touchdown pretty much sealed the deal to do it. And so you could just you got the sense that San Francisco was just trying to press. And Purdy probably found himself on the laid out on the grass a few times with 70,000 people screaming at him there. Overall, just a fantastic effort for San Francisco. But in the end, I've got Philadelphia and Cincinnati tomorrow or Sunday, depending on when you watch this. The lines are all pretty close. We'll see. But 34-16, both felt like pretty good. Pretty realistic results for me. Okay, so what did I think about the game? I didn't play the 1.0 version. As you know, it's only a PDF game. You got to print it out yourself. What I did, if Al Wilson is wondering how I played, is I had the 2 PDFs, and I have light shots, so I did screeny shots of the 4 team cards, and then just had them back to back and was able to flip back and forth. Ball roller, easy to use. The directions I thought were quite easy to use. Game played really well because I have played Stone Cold Hockey on the computer. It's a play.com base type game. I was able to follow it really well. And so, you do if you've never played a play.com type game or Fast Drive Football, it gives you option A, and if it doesn't pass the check for option A, then you go to option B. There's a qualifier there. You either passes or not, and then there's an option C, and option C will resolve the play. I will say that I really, I'm not a huge fan of highlight type football games because I'm not really that, huge into football. But what you and Mark Miller have done, what Al and Mark Miller has done, or Jerry Quan, adding the touchdowns to the rushing and receiving allowed me, when I was playing this, to visualize in my head the play. It wasn't just a Philadelphia touchdown. It was a Jalen Hurts touchdown run or a Jalen Hurts touchdown pass to Brown. And so that's why I went on camera to describe what happened in the game, to try to do a highlight style and then just showing you what the written work was on my spreadsheet. So that it made it feel immersive. And I think anytime you play a game, you want it to feel immersive. I didn't have anything that tripped me up in the second game at all. I will certainly do a Super Bowl pre-play with this, and I'm going to do it with 2nd and 10 next weekend. That one I'll do live. Probably would not stream this live just because it's difficult to go back and forth. I really do have 3 things open. But really enjoyed the games. It took me, I pulled them out and maybe an hour to play both. But remember, it takes me longer to go back and forth between the PDF for, I think the only thing that I had to make sure I had right was the timing, because it's not a straight 1 through 6. There's other things there, and maybe is my own cheat sheet for the next time I play, or I'll have that up. But everything I was able to grasp with relative ease. Again, the only things were at the end of the game. Like I said, I didn't give San Francisco the field goal because there's no way they would have settled for 3 down 18 points. And again, I took the efficient for Cincinnati on offense and just gave Kansas City a snowball's chance in purgatory to do something with it. And with a poor field position, they just didn't have the time to do it. So, again, my game, my rules, but a well-designed game, really fun, and that plays that gave me enough. I think anytime you go to a highlight type game, or because this is more than a final score type game, this is much like Stone Cold Hockey, especially now where the score is all in there. It gave me enough to keep me interested to go out and play that second game right away, and to do that. And it felt like I was playing those teams. So kudos to Al Wilson and Mark Miller for the design for this and going through the rules. And if I played any of that wrong that I've described, please let me know for the next time. But for now, here's what I think is going to happen. I think Cincinnati's going to win a close game tomorrow. And I maybe Brock Purdy surprises us, but that Philadelphia defense is pretty stout. And nothing that I played in these two games surprised me at all. All right, we'll talk to you soon. I'm Ron Chuckett. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you the next time.